What's up, guys? I wanted to make a quick video on how I managed to completely transform my diet over the course of about 6 months. I'm going to share with you two tips in this video. So the two tips that I have, the first one I call progressive overload, but for your willpower. If you're familiar with the gym term, you're going to find that it makes a lot of sense intuitively. If not, I'm going to explain this later on in the video. The second tip is keep things as simple as possible and minimize complexity at the start. Build your willpower first and then introduce complexity later on. If you stick with me to the end of the video, I'm going to go over a lot of details about exactly how you can take those tips and implement them. I'm going to give you some action items that you can take that will help you start seeing results as early as this month. But before I jump into that, I want to start by just talking a little bit about my backstory, what I struggled with when I was younger, and talk about now what things are like now that I have actually transformed my diet. So when I was 21, 22, I was in college, right? And I was working all the time. I didn't have much money. And so, as you can imagine, like most college students, my diet was Taco Bell and frozen pizzas and ramen. It was unhealthy. And the net effect that all of that unhealthy food had, coupled with just the lack of good nutrients that I wasn't even bringing into my body, was that I was lethargic and tired throughout the day. My skin looked dull and saggy. I had acne. I had just a low sex drive, no motivation. I felt stressed out and tired and just unhappy, and I didn't have motivation to do anything. So, fast forward, now I'm 28, and dude, I have more energy than I've ever had in my entire life. I have a higher sex drive than I've ever had. I have more motivation than I've ever had. My skin looks better. I just feel strong. Like I am stronger. My gym performance has gone through the roof. Dude, I just feel great throughout the day. Like that's the key takeaway is just I feel good. I feel happy. I feel excited and motivated and I'm accomplishing things. That's my default now. It feels good. And the way I got there was by taking the two steps that I'm about to talk about. So, number one, as I mentioned, progressive overload. In the gym, if you're not familiar with weightlifting, the term progressive overload essentially refers to the idea that if your muscles are capable of doing, say, this much work, your workout wants to push and strain your muscles to do about this much work, right? If you do a little bit more work than your muscles are used to, your body, when you're working out, you're causing some micro damage in the muscle, right? And when your body realizes, shit, I'm used to this, but I had to do this today, and I have all this extra protein because you're eating extra protein, and so I may as well just build it up a little bit more, build that muscle up a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, so it's actually capable of doing this. And then the next time you work out, now you're capable of doing this, you're going to push it to here, and then here and here, and over time, over weeks and months and years, you build and grow your muscles. That's really the idea, okay? What progressive overload is not is walking into the gym untrained, which means you're capable of maybe bench pressing, for example, this much, and you try to bench press 225 pounds. You're not going to get that on your first day unless you're a superhuman. It's crazy. That's a lot of weight. So that would be like your baseline is here and you try for this. How does this relate back to your diet? Well, if you eat shitty food every single day, every single meal, if you do what most people, including myself, try to do when they try to like overhaul their diet, which is go from eating crappy food every single day to eating perfectly every single day, you see where I'm going with this? This is too much of a leap. It's just too hard. You can maybe sustain it for like a week, but you're certainly not going to be able to sustain it moving forward over the long run. You're not going to enjoy it. You're going to just spend all day thinking about the sugar and the donuts and the ice cream and the Oreos that you miss. And when you very likely fail, you're going to feel like crap. Instead, go the other way. Progressive overload, right? Set a target. When you go to the gym and you've never bench pressed, you're going to try bench pressing the empty bar. And when that'll probably be a little easy, so you'll add a little bit of weight on, not much, just maybe like 10 pounds on either side. Okay, that's actually stressing me out. That's a strain. Maybe that's the right place to be. And so for me, when I started trying to improve my diet, rather than I was eating 3 meals a day, so 21 meals a week, rather than aiming for 21, I said, okay, 7. Let me try eating 7 healthy meals in a week, right? That's one good decision every single day. And that turned out to be easy. Okay, fair enough. So I'm going to add a little bit of, add more weight, right? Like add a few more meals to my target. So I went up to 10. And that was actually tough. I wasn't consistently hitting it because that required two good decisions on a couple of days, and that was way more than I could handle at the time. So over time, I built up my willpower and eventually I got to 10. And when I got to 10, that was my new baseline. That was now easy for me. That actually felt great. It's like, dude, I've actually made progress now, right? Like, rather than feeling crappy about being able to eat 10 when I want to eat 21, now I feel great because it's like last week I was eating 7. The week before I was eating 0, right? And so you feel good about your progress. And then once 10 is possible, once 10 is easy, okay, I think my next target was like 12, right? Not 20, 12, 14. Over time, it becomes easier and easier and easier, and it becomes more sustainable. Now, dude, I don't know how many meals I eat. Like, I'm bulking, so I eat like 7 meals a day. It's kind of crazy, but I would say like 95 to 100% of my meals, honestly more than that. It's probably like 99% of my meals are healthy. So that's step 1. Work on your willpower. Step 2 is add complexity after you've built up your willpower. What do I mean by that? Well, the complexity that most people deal with when it comes to actually improving their diet is they get bombarded with information from various different sources about what actually is a healthy diet, right? If you go online and like search, like you put in YouTube, what is healthy? What is a healthy diet? You're gonna get overwhelmed by so many different people saying so many different things. You're gonna have people saying keto is the way to go. You're gonna have other people saying, no, 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 you need the carbs, you need the carbs. You're gonna have people like fighting over whether dairy is good or whether dairy is terrible. Is meat good or is meat terrible? Like, dude, people, it's crazy. Dude, use your common sense. When you're working on your willpower, you don't need the added complexity of trying to like figure out what the optimal diet is and like experimenting with different things. It's like, dude, at this point, I want you to just stop eating the bad food first, right? Like, you're eating Oreos and frozen pizza and fast food. I don't give a fuck if you're doing keto or paleo or whatever. I want you to stop eating that shit first. Once you've gotten to a place where you're sustainably able to avoid the bad foods, right? Like, you're not eating sugar anymore, you're not eating like frozen pizzas and fast food. Once you're sustainably able to do that, at that point, if you want to start experimenting with keto, paleo, vegan, carnivore, whatever, you've built up the willpower to not be eating the addictive, highly processed foods that have been engineered by scientists to keep you hooked, right? Like, dude, Oreos and shit, think about how fucking addictive Oreos are. They're so good. And the reason they're so good is because scientists have literally like spent millions of dollars. They split test ingredients and shit, all the like fake like processed chemicals that they put in there to make them as addictive as possible, coupled with the most addictive thing in the world, which is sugar. You have to actively fight the addiction. This is an addiction. Like, most of you are addicted to sugar without even realizing it. And so you need to fight that first. And once you get over that, then by all means go in and add the complexity of like figuring out what the optimal diet is for you, of course. But at the start, what I would say is your best chance of kicking that addiction and getting your willpower to where it needs to be is by minimizing complexity, just focusing on your common sense. Like, what do you think is actually healthy? That's probably going to be healthy, right? Like, most people, if you put a gun to their head and say what's healthy, they're going to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to eat like a mix of like whole grains and like unprocessed carbs, some, healthy fats, maybe some fatty fish, some fruits and vegetables, lean cuts of meat. That's like 100 times healthier than what you're currently doing. So that's my point. Step 2, focus on step 1 first and then add complexity. Build up your willpower and then add complexity. It's gonna make your life a lot easier. Don't be thinking, I wanna be eating perfect next week. Be thinking, I wanna be eating significantly better than I am eating today in 6 months. That's the goal, right? Because then you're gonna be doing it for the rest of your life. It'll be a habit. So let me know what you guys think about all of these tips, what struggles, what successes you've had in the comments below. I hope this was helpful, and good luck with everything. Seriously, thank you, and talk to you soon.